Hey guys, thanks for coming back and joining us here at Salty Ginger Talk. If you're a returning listener, we're glad to have you back. If you're new to the channel, thanks for joining us. We hope you like what you hear. So, our podcast is for people that want to learn something new or make themselves a little bit better every day. So, we talk about a wide variety of things: self improvement, worrying about controlling things that we have control over, not worrying about things we don't have control over, using facts and logic to make better decisions, and really taking control of our lives. We don't want to be victims. We don't want to be riding the wave of fate to determine if our life turns out good or bad. We want to take control of the things we take control of. So that's what our channel is about. Glad you were able to join us here. And on that note, we're going to talk about today's podcast episode, which is how to set and achieve goals. So one of our favorite quotes was by a guy named Jim Rohn, who was a motivational speaker and was a mentor to Tony Robbins, actually helped Tony Robbins get his start kind of in the training and self-help business. And his quote was, either you run the day or the day runs you. And we love that quote. That look, there's times the day runs you. I had one of those days last week where like my first 4 or 5 calls were just big problems. And it wasn't a matter of whether I wanted to work on them or not. I had to work on them. Like they were just imminent problematic things that broke the rest of my day apart. So it didn't matter what I had planned. I had to deal with those things. Every once in a while that happens, but for the most part, you can control those types of situations and you can control what you work on, what you focus on, what you spend your time on. And that's what that quote means to us. So we can control how we think, we can control how we react to things. We can't necessarily control what happens in our life, but we certainly can control how we react to things. So, and what we spend our time and energy on, right? So that's how we want to think about things. We have control over those things. And how do we know what it is we want to accomplish? Why not set goals? We get to determine what those goals are. Maybe making a ton of money is really important to you. That's fine. If that's what you're about, then be about it. But set goals for yourself so that you can go after that goal of making a lot of money. Maybe you want to have a really good relationship or a really good family. That's great. Set goals. What does that mean to you? What does that look like? So you can pick. That's the beautiful thing about goals is you get to pick what you spend your time on. You get to pick what's important to you. You get to pick where you focus. And we think setting goals is a great way to do that. Now, setting a goal is great, but what do you do to achieve it? We're going to talk about that as well. And, we're targeting this at pretty much everybody, but maybe you've never set goals before. Maybe it's a new concept to you, and maybe you've wished a lot of things or thought a lot of things, but never sat down and said, hey, I'm going to put a concrete plan together. Here's what I want to accomplish. Here's how I think I'm going to accomplish it. And here's the steps I'm going to take or the actions I'm going to take to get that done. So that's the idea behind our episode today. So with all of that said, we're going to give you a framework and some things to think about as it relates to goal setting and achieving those goals that you set for yourself. So the first one, we highly, highly encourage any goal you set to be what's called a SMART goal, SMART. That stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. It makes it way easier to assess your progress and way easier to tell, am I going the direction I need to be going? Am I achieving the things I'm trying to achieve or am I not? So we'll give an example. I'd like to lose weight. Okay, great. That sounds great. But that's not a goal. That's a wish. That's a thought out loud. I am going to lose 30 pounds by next June. That's a very specific goal. That is specific, right? What am I doing? When am I doing it? It's measurable. I set the bar for myself at 30 pounds. It's achievable. Can I lose 30 pounds in 6 months? Sure you can. That's not like I'm going to lose 100 pounds by next week. That's not realistic. So real, achievable and realistic. Yes, it's both of those things. And time bound. By June, we've set ourselves a deadline on when we're going to achieve this goal. So you really want your goals to be SMART goals. Otherwise, how do you know if you're making it? How can you tell if you're doing the right thing? And like, even if your goal feels kind of squishy and esoteric, like I would like to not lose my temper anymore. Okay. Maybe you say, you know what? I'm going to set a goal that I'm not going to lose my temper any more than 3 times in a week. And you can keep a journal and track that. Now, there is some subjectivity to it. Did you lose your temper? Did you not lose your temper? You may think you didn't, others may think you did, but at least it's a goal and it's measurable. And you set a time, it's a week, you've set a target 3 times, and you have to come up with something as it relates to that if that's your goal. So we just highly, highly encourage everyone to think about goals in terms of being smart goals. There needs to be specifics around them, time commitments around them for you to achieve them. Next, write it down. Put your goals in writing to make them more tangible and to help you stay committed. You can use a journal planner or a goal setting app. We believe in writing things down, physically taking a pen or a pencil or whatever and writing it on a piece of paper. You can transfer that at some point to a computer, to a spreadsheet, to a tracker, to an app if you want to do that. But the physical act of writing it down makes different parts of your brain actually connect. So when you type, you can type the same, you don't know W, X, J, F, G, doesn't matter. When you're writing, you have to spell the word out and it sticks in your head different when you write it down. So we're a big fan of writing things down because they stick in your head when you write them down. So that's what we do. We actually write things down and then we'll transfer it to a spreadsheet once we've written it down. But we take that extra step simply to try to get it to stick in our heads. That's what we do. Next, create an action plan. So an action plan is going to list the specific tasks that you need to complete to achieve your goals and set deadlines for each of those tasks. Now, you have to be realistic in that. So if you've got 3 really huge things you're trying to get done all in one day, that's probably not realistic. Can you get one of them done? Sure. Can you get 2 of them done? That's kind of a stretch. Can you get 3 of them done? That seems really outlandish to us. And so you have to be realistic about if it's small and easy and it's a low hurdle to get over, maybe you can knock out 5, 6, 7 of those things in one day, and that's great. But you've got to be realistic about what it is you're trying to achieve, how much time you have to spend on it, how much time it's going to take you, and the effort that you have to put into achieving whatever it is, the task that you've set for yourself. Because if you get that one big task done, you've used a lot of mental and emotional and physical capital to get that task done. It's probably not realistic to take on another big task that day. So when you create your action plan, you've got to be realistic about how much you can get done in a specific period of time and how much mental, physical, and emotional capital you can commit in any one 24-hour period. So be smart about that when you write those goals down. So like we're sticking with our, I want to lose 30 pounds by June, right? I am going to get rid of all my processed foods by tomorrow. I am going to look up recipes for chicken and vegetables by Thursday. And I'm making stuff up, but you got to be very specific about those things because that's the only way you're going to, I shouldn't say the only way, but it's by far the best chance you've got of putting together a coherent plan and sticking to that plan to achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve. Next, celebrate progress. When you do something and knock something off your list or you achieve something that you're trying to achieve that's moving you towards your ultimate goal, it's a step towards the ultimate goal. Celebrate that. Even if it's just, hey, I feel good about myself. I feel great. Maybe you reward yourself with a walk. Maybe you reward yourself with watching your favorite TV show. Maybe you reward yourself with a piece of dark chocolate. I don't know what it is. Whatever works for you, but celebrate that progress. Don't get so hung up on, hey, am I achieving every minute of the day? Am I doing something every minute of the day? That's not a real great way, actually, to be super successful and to get things done. But you got to celebrate those things in your own way, in a way that works for you. I'm not an overtly celebratory guy. You'll never see me at a party with a lampshade on my head screaming when I used to hit home runs or strike someone out. I was not a chest bumper. I was not a fist pumper. That's just not how I was. I was very kind of locked in, and that works for me. There's nothing, I'm not saying anything wrong with those things. It's just not how I am. So when I say celebrate, that way of celebrating would not work for me. So for me, I would replay it over in my head and go, yes, I worked hard to accomplish that. I think about all the time I spent in a weight room, all the time I spent running stadium stairs, all the time I spent watching video, all the time I spent reading scouting reports. That's how I celebrate progress. Look at all that work I did and it paid off. I had myself in a situation to be successful, and I was. So like we just talked about, celebrate progress. That bleeds into the next one, reward yourself. We kind of just blended those two together in the comments we were making around those points. But it is important to reward yourself. Maybe it's a vacation that you've been wanting to take, or maybe it's a hike on a pretty trail that you really enjoy, or maybe it's watching the sunset. There's lots of different ways to reward yourself. It doesn't have to be food. It doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be substances. It can be things like watching the sunset or taking a hike in the woods or those types of things, giving yourself a half hour of no phone, no screen time to really just exist and enjoy what's going on around you. Whatever it is, however you celebrate and however you reward yourself, figure out what works for you and do that. Next, share your goals. Tell someone you trust about your goals, such as a friend or mentor, to help you stay accountable. We knew someone who they wanted to lose a lot of weight, like 100 pounds. And so they took a picture of themselves with just their underwear on. And they sent it to their friend and said, hang on to this. And if in a year I've not lost 100 pounds, I want you to post this on Facebook. I can't remember the platform, but they wanted them to make it public to kind of shame them into sticking to their goals. That might work for you. That might not work for you, but that's an example of sharing your goals and having someone kind of along for the ride that's a cheerleader, that is an enforcer, that is your conscience, your exterior conscience to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve. So by sharing those things and enlisting somebody else's help and support, sometimes that can help you get over a hump you can't get over on your own. Next tip is to break down large goals. So, like, let's stick with our 30 pounds by June. If I was going to do that and say, okay, so I've got 6 months, let's just pretend that this is a New Year's resolution. I got to get it done by the end of June. So I got 6 months, it's 60 pounds or 30 pounds. That's 5 pounds a month, right? I can do that. That 5 pounds a month is 1.25 pounds a week. So all I got to do is lose 1.25 pounds every week, and I get to my goal by June. Like, you can break that down. It seems much more manageable to say I got to lose 1.25 pounds this week versus I got to lose 30 pounds, right? Just saying them out loud, you can tell the big difference in kind of the mental and emotional strain that staring that big goal in the face without a plan to achieve it can create. And so by breaking down large goals into smaller goals, smaller manageable tasks, it's really going to help you stay the course. It's really going to help you show success, because every week you're going to be like, oh, I hit my goal of 1.25 pounds, hit my goal of 1.25 pounds. It may not sound like a lot, but let's just say that things go well for you, 2 pounds a week, right? So at the end of the month, you're going to be 8 pounds lighter instead of 5. And that's going to feel good. So if you do it that way, it's a good way to kind of constantly see progress, constantly reward yourself. And remember, like we talk a lot about on this channel, hitting home runs and making big leaps as it relates to self-improvement is rare. It is generally the small tweaks that you do over a long period of time that carry the most weight and have the most significance in your life. So breaking down large goals into smaller goals fits right in to that mindset. So definitely important to break down the larger goals into smaller achievable goals. Next is prioritize. Not all goals are equally important, so prioritize them based on their significance. Maybe you make a list and say, you know what, these are the 6 things that I really want to change about my life. Maybe it's weight, maybe it's physical fitness, maybe it's education. I don't know what it is, doesn't matter. The point is, you can't do them all at once, right? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. And if you're going to actually be successful, the best thing to do is to pick one thing and make that your focus. Put the other 5 in the parking lot and say, as soon as I achieve this one, my reward is going to be getting to the next goal that I've set for myself, or one of my rewards will be getting to the next goal that I've set for myself. So you got to prioritize where it is you spend your time, your effort, and your resources, because time and mental capital and emotional capital and physical exertion are finite. There is a certain amount of those that you have available to you every day, and when they're gone, it's really hard to recharge those batteries until the next day. You get a good meal, you get some sleep, and you get up and attack it the next day. But if you don't prioritize, you could find yourself spending a lot of time and effort on a lot of different things. And Ron Swanson on Parks and Recreation said it best. I don't try to half-ass 2 things, I whole-ass one thing. And so that's the way to think about it, is if you prioritize, you can spend all your time and energy and your focus on the most important goal to you, or the focus that you've decided for your life. And it's going to give you a much higher chance of success than diluting your efforts across a bunch of different categories. And then the last one that we have, last tip for setting and accomplishing goals, is regularly review. Check in on your goals and measure your progress. Are you achieving the goals that you set for yourself? The mini goals. You start with your big goal, break it to the mini goals. Are you achieving the mini goals? If you are, great, keep taking the same actions. If you're not, Don't beat yourself up. Don't get negative. Don't, I'm so stupid. I can't get this done. I'm such a loser. I'm not worth it. None of that talk is helpful. None of it's going to get you where you want to go. You need to stay focused on what's important to you and understand what it is that's preventing you from accomplishing what it is you're trying to accomplish. Maybe you're eating at night. Let's stick with our weight loss goal. Maybe you're eating at night. Maybe you're eating dessert after 2 meals a day and you know that that's causing you additional calories that you don't have in your calorie budget. Whatever it is, if you regularly review it, it gives you a chance to tweak the actions that you take to change the approach that you're taking to get to where you want to be. And it'll help you get back on track if you're off track or stay on track if you are on track. It's validation that the plan you put together for yourself is going well and you're killing it. So, either way, whether you need to make changes, whether you don't need to make changes, regularly reviewing the progress you're making towards your goals is a very important part of goal setting. So, there we go, guys. That's the episode for today. Setting and achieving goals, terribly important. Remember, again, you get to pick them. You get to choose what you spend your time and effort on. And that's the beautiful part about goals. And that's, in our mind, the beautiful part about what we preach, which is take control over what you have control over. Don't waste time on things you don't have control over. I was a good hitter because I didn't swing at pitches in the dirt. So I can't hit those very well. Would I catch one every once in a while? Maybe. But if you threw it right down the middle, I had a much better chance of hitting it. So I just waited for you to throw it right down the middle. If you want to walk me, walk me. I'll take the base. Let the next guy get the hit. That's fine because it helps us win the game. So the goal setting, terribly important. Hope you guys found it useful. James puts it up over here every day. Don't forget to check out our website, saltygingertalk.com. All of our podcast episodes are available on the website. We've got a newsletter that we publish every weekday that you can subscribe to on our website. And we've got links to all of our social media content on our website as well. Also, do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment on our podcast on whatever platform it is you consume it on. Really appreciate you guys coming and checking us out. Hope to see you next time. Everybody have a great week.